Today we're going to have Bob from Perry White Pipes will be joining us this evening, and he's going to give us a little session on sandblasting on his pipes, as well as some other carvers out there that do sandblasting.
Hi.
Great, thanks.
And I really took off on Sheratons, and I would have to tell you that probably I've had thousands of Sheratons that have gone through my hands. Now, maybe I collected them and owned them, maybe I smoked them, maybe I repaired them for somebody, maybe I refurbished them, but if you bought a state Sheraton, you may be smoking a pipe that I worked on, and that's what I'm trying to say here. Dunhill was the biggest competitor in those days, and when we're talking about smooth pipes, Dunhill made smooth pipes and competed with Sheraton, but Dunhill always had a battle going with Sheraton because Sheratons had the straight grains and Dunhill had the smooth pipes, but you really couldn't see the grain so much in them. And there's another thing I need to pause and say here is that Sheraton pipes were handmade pipes, okay? Dunhills really weren't handmade pipes. Dunhills were phrased pipes. In other words, they were made on a machine. And we talk about, in today's world, when we're talking about pipes, we're talking mostly handmade pipes, like Robbie makes handmade pipes and I make handmade pipes. But what is handmade? I mean, how much is handmade? So Dunhill says we make handmade pipes. Some of the work is hand done, but Dunhill did most of their work on a phrasing machine, and they were put out in a shape, a standard shape. So they made bulldogs, they made billiards, they made Dublins, and so forth. Sheraton came out and made, when they made a pipe, it was totally handmade. Okay, now when I say totally handmade, I have to say also that they made, or they did part of the pipe work, and every pipe maker does this, on a machine. And the main part of the pipe work that was done on the machine was the bowl cutting and the draft hole and the mortise. So the mortise is the tenon area that we're talking about in here, okay? So, you know, when we say handmade, there's really very few pipe makers out there that make the pipe totally by hand. There's always some kind of machine. Most often it's the lathe. Or when they're sanding, there may be in today's world, there's a sanding machine, and there's all kinds of sanding machines to make them with. And it's cut down, the pipe is originally cut down from the block to a shape. It's roughed out, and from there, usually, if it's a handmade pipe and not a phrasing machine pipe, it's then hand sanded, and the shape then comes out. And if it's smooth, well, here's one that's I don't have many on my table that are smooth tonight because of what we're talking about, but this is a smooth, okay? And there's a lot of sanding work in this, but it's also rusticated here on the shank. So, and I'm, you know, when we get to it, I would like you guys to come up and take a look at some of these pipes as we're talking about it. The reason I say this is that, you know, also what we have to think about is that pipes, and especially today, Jay was just talking to me about some of the guys that are making really small pipes now. And there's a resurgence in pipe smoking, believe it or not, even with all the smoke Nazis out there today. And the young guys, the college kids, are smoking pipes, and they're buying smaller pipes. And why are they buying smaller pipes? And I'm talking really small pipes. You know, I mean, to me, I'm used to Sheratons and they're big, okay, but this is a small pipe to me, okay. To some of you guys, this probably is not a small pipe, but I'm talking pipes smaller than this. And why are they doing that? Well, they're doing it because of, you know, why they're texting and why they're doing all these things on their phones and so forth. It's a chance to put that pipe in their pocket, take it to work, go out on the break when everybody else is having a cigarette, and then go out there and put a little bit of tobacco in there and smoke the pipe quick. So these are all things that are evolving, and that's what primarily what we're going to talk about tonight is evolving. So we've said that we all know about the straight grain pipe. Another way to make a pipe, and another way to create the artwork of a pipe, and that's what we're talking about. Pipe makers, most pipe makers feel that they are an artist, that they're making a piece of art, especially in today's world. This pipe is supposed to be artful. You've all heard of Bo Nord, I'm guessing, and Bo Nord literally has pipes in the Museum of Art. So we are talking art, okay? And we're going, it doesn't matter if it's the low end, you know, a $300 pipe or the high end, a $3,000 pipe. So Dunhill, Alfred Dunhill, is credited with another form of making a pipe or finishing a pipe and the artwork on it, and he is credited with creating sandblasting. Now sandblasting is, you know, primarily what we're here to talk about tonight. And sandblasting is using, does everybody know what a sandblaster is, kind of? I mean, it's pressurized sand blown upon the surface of the pipe, or upon the surface of anything. I mean, sandblasters are used in all kinds of work that's done out there today. So Alfred Dunhill was the man that created this. Now, when we're talking about creating things, let's just say that's another art form that was created, and Alfred Dunhill can be attributed to it. The third type of technique that we see on a pipe that we're talking about would be rustication. And is everybody aware of rustication? Rustication is using a tool to carve the wood. In other words, to rough up the wood, to change it. You're going to get a closer look at this later, but this is a rusticated pipe. This is a supreme rustication. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's unbelievable when you look at this. This is done by Connie Nielsen. And you know, what I want to try to get across to everybody tonight is to notice the differences in these three types of art that we're talking about. If you look at this pipe, you could easily, and I have to tell you that I thought originally when I bought this pipe that it was sandblasted and rusticated. And it's total rustication. You'll get a chance to look at this, like I say, up close. So this is a real artwork. This pipe has excellent rustication on it too. Probably one of the best rusticators in our country today rusticated this pipe. So those are the three types that we're used to. Now, I have to look at my notes here because I'm not an artist and I don't claim to be an artist, but my wife put this out. So what I'm trying to relate to is that some of you would know Andrew Wyeth. And Andrew Wyeth created realism, okay? And he was an artist, and his art was realistic, okay? Salvador Dali took off from Andrew Wyeth, and his is not realistic. It is called surrealism. So he created a different type of art. Monet created Impressionism, okay? And they're scenes in detail. Now, everybody, if you haven't heard of those people, those artists, you've heard of, who am I trying to think of? The guy that's, this skipped my mind. The guy that does all the crazy stuff. Who? Warhol? No, not Warhol.
What does he do?
Picasso, that's what I'm trying to think of. Thank you. It's hell getting old, I'll tell you. Picasso. Now, Picasso, you know, was a big change in art, okay? So, what I wanted, the reason I bring these people up is what I want to say to you is that we're all now in a period with pipe making that is changing dramatically. And there is a fourth type of texture and artwork on pipes today. And we are not, as a society, as a pipe making society, we are not aware of it enough. There are a few of us that are aware of it. It is called sand carving, okay? Now, sand carving is a name that I've lent to it, okay? And I gotta say that everything that I'm telling you tonight is my opinion on things, okay? So you have to take it or leave it or decide what you want to do with it. But sand carving is out there. Now, I gotta tell you this also, that, you know, I'm sure that you've all heard of Jim Cook. If you haven't seen his pipes, Jim Cook is a sand carver. And Jim Cook actually took sand blasting to a greater depth. He took it, and I'm being a little facetious when I say that, because he makes a pipe and the sand blasting effect on a pipe deeper than a sand blast would really be. I'm going to explain this to you, okay? Jim's pipes are, when you look at a sandblast pipe from Jim Cook, and Jim's been out there for years. I mean, this man has double carpal tunnel syndrome from both arms because he's been sand carving so long, literally.